All right, I think we are live. Um, Hello, this is Pat Baer. I am in the chat right now, looking at the chat. So let's ask the chat, can you hear my voice? You can see my face. Can you hear what I'm saying? And then we'll wait for the delay to see if anyone replies in chat. And we'll just wait. This is Build with Baer Workshop. Thank you for liking the name. Uh, okay, I see a couple people in there, and they are replying that yes, they can hear me. That's excellent. Thank you, everyone that's in the chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. This is kind of a thrown together setup, as you may be aware. Streaming wirelessly, which I would prefer not to. Working with equipment that isn't necessarily meant for all what I'm doing. But I think that it's going to be a fun show. Now, before we start getting into the actual build and what I'm going to build today, I'll let you know a little bit about the concept of the show. This is Build with Baer Workshop, and the idea is that I will have guests who are crafters, who make cosplay, who do builds of their own, come on and I'll interview them and we'll talk about the projects that they're working on and kind of showcase that. Or maybe I'll just have a funny friend on and we'll do a Lego build or build a Gundam or just work on some project that maybe they've always wanted to work on, or maybe my woodworking friends can come out and do something. It's kind of open to a bunch of different ideas. So we'll see what comes of that. But for right now, at this very moment, we're going to work on a project of mine, and let me cue up to the main thing here. Let's see if we can see this. I'll show it to you right now. We're working on a Gundam. We're working on the Shining Gundam. That's right. We're going to do that. I'm looking up. I'm getting some text messages that I'm going to ignore because I'm a professional. Put that aside there. All right, so let's see if this works. I've never used OBS before, so let's see. Okay, so this should be our build space here, and then we'll go and look over. Okay, that's working in there. All right, so G Gundam, problematic to say the least. G Gundam was on Cartoon Network. It was dubbed in English. It is currently on Crunchyroll in Japanese with subtitles. And the idea of a world tournament that everyone moved away to other planets and kind of formed their own colonies based on their previous countries on Earth, and then on Earth they battle representing those countries is really interesting. Like, that's, instead of war, they have this like tournament, and that's interesting. I like that. But unfortunately, it means that each country has a very racist representation. The American one is like a boxing cowboy, and the Japanese one, Neo Japan, Shining Gundam is probably the least racist. Weird that it's a Japanese game, or sorry, Japanese series, and it's the least racist. Huh, surprising. I think Holland has a windmill. It's bad. It's bad news. So the first thing I noticed when I got this kit, this is a high grade kit, is that there are a couple screws in here, and that's terrible. That's going to be very bad for what I want to do here, because it's not too conductive for me to talk and then screw in a couple things. This is a high-grade kit. It's also from Japan, so everything is in Japanese. Every single thing is in Japanese. But these model kits are easy enough to do without needing to speak the language, or read the language, I should say. So I'm not too worried about it. As I said, this is the Shining Gundam. There's also the God Gundam. G Gundam's messed up. Yeah, it's fun. I like it because it's like a fighting series that's also a Gundam series. And while there is drama, there's plenty of episodes that have no drama other than like who's going to win this fight. And so it's a little like lighter than, say, Gundam Wing, which was like my first Gundam series. So, all right, let's see here. So let's get into it. I have never put together Gundam with an audience before, so that's very fun. I don't often say Gunpla because it was not a thing that I was aware of until pretty recently, so I have not used that language. So I am now going to go through all my pages here. As we go, I will get way better at knowing what pieces I need based on their numbers and letters. But right now, I am a little bit in the dark because I didn't do the proper culling. I could have unpackaged every single package, taken everything out. I didn't do that. So right now, I'm looking for G. There are pieces marked G that I need in order to get this thing started. And I can't do that unless I have them. So let's see here. Oh God, these screws. There's a little package of screws and it makes me so nervous. Because this is a master grade. I probably could have done a high grade as my first build with the Build with Baer workshop. That probably would have been better for me to do, is to start with something that I am comfortable with, which is building those things from scratch. This is not labeled, so it's probably G. I'm going to look at it one more time. What is this labels? Is this G? Yes, this is G. Great. So that took ridiculous amount of time. So I found G, so I'm going to quickly open that and make a lot of crinkling noises that aren't fun for camera. That's also a thing I could have thought of before I did this, was that I would make crinkle crackle noises. Tools of the trade. Let me look in camera here. So clippers, I'm removing plastic from plastic. So I've got these little clippers here that do the job very well. They don't have as much resistance as I probably would like. The metal has bent in a way that isn't helpful. It has some resistance, but maybe not as much as I would like. Put those there. I got a screwdriver, which is probably a little too big, but it is an old screwdriver, so it has been worn, and that should help. And then to remove some of the extra plastic, I've got a bunch of these little file things that is way better than just owning sandpaper, which I used to just own. I did a lot of these sticks are very helpful because I used to do a lot of building with which is called just like old sandpaper that my dad owned, and that's not the best, and it just gets messy. So these are there is my literal only pro tip for this stream, is to use these kinds of tools. Maybe I'll put a link up in the YouTube after where I bought these things. It was Amazon. I'm not going to hobby shops. There's a great place called Image Anime here in New York City that I used to frequent when I first moved here that I haven't been to in a while. So I might have to pop in if I start needing kits on a regular basis. So right now I am just clipping out a piece that I need, which is G4. I like to, and this is very specific to me, Pat Baer, I like to put the piece kind of near where it is that I'm working on so that I know that I have it. Other people might do something different, but that's just how I like to roll. Okay, G44 will be over here. No, that's F. So that's fun. I thought I had G out, and of course there's not. That's also G. Oh, no, that's not. This is all part of the process. This is why, I'm excited about the idea of having guests on, so I'm not doing all of the talking. Calling probably would have been a better idea than just doing what I'm doing here. All right, well, what I know I can do is I can get, I have G4, and I can get G25, because that's on this sheet. So I know I can do that, so let me do that. How's it going in chat? I got a couple people chatting. Plamo for non-Gundam plastic models. Huh, Plamo. I've never heard that before. I hope it doesn't enter my vocabulary, because Plamo. Well, Plamo's fun. I shouldn't say. I hope it doesn't enter my vocabulary. Maybe it'll enter my vocabulary. All right, so now I got to find two more pieces. I got to find G44, and I also have to find a screw. So that's fun. I should really do something about this. This is going to be frustrating for everyone, including me. All right, so let's see here. What do we got? What's this? So I and D aren't here, and these are F, and this is F. Okay, so that's F. They're not even in alphabetical order, which is like, come on. So we'll look at that. Come over here. What are these? This is E and E. Okay, so G44, I'd like you to magically appear because I'm not finding you, and that's frustrating at the very beginning of a build. To not be able to find a piece that you're looking for is incredibly frustrating because it only goes up to 27. This is G, and it goes to 27. So there's got to be another G, right? There can't not be another G. So now I have to look everywhere for more G's. And I'm just saying G over and over again. I found it. Here it is. Okay. Nope, that's not it. That's not it. Okay, so then we start going through all these pieces again. Let's just start looking. This is part of the process. It's not a fun part of the process, but it is part of the process, where you just have to, process of elimination, find the pieces you're looking for. And then when you can't find it, you just get really mad and frustrated. And you take it out on yourself. And you question why you did this. But no, don't worry about it. I'm not actually mad at myself for this. This is just part of the process. This whole idea of this show came to me in a legitimate, actual shower thought. The Build with Baer workshop name came to me in that, and I thought it was too silly not to do. So I decided that I would 100% make this a show. And then instead of booking a guest immediately, I decided I was just going to do it myself for the first episode, and then eventually I would get guests, and it would all work out. Now, when I have gone through literally everything, and I cannot find G44, which is, I'm going to go ahead and say, incredibly frustrating. Yeah. So that's where we're at right now. Is I'm being very frustrated with myself because I am unable to find the couple pieces that I need. I don't actually do much painting. I've never had a talent for small painting. I'm a house painter by trade. Worked for my dad, who owned his own house painting company for many years. So I am skilled with a paintbrush that is large, a house paintbrush. But for detailing work, I am bad. So I don't actually paint. I'll do some sticker application. I do like a good sticker now and again. In my heyday of the late 90s, when I was really into kits, I did have a friend who painted, and I commissioned her to paint a few pieces. She did some damage detailing on a Gundam Death Scythe, because that was my favorite Gundam at the time. All right, so let's see here. This is A. Is there anything else in A? If I look for 44, no. Okay, so this happens on occasion. I'm not saying it happens often. I'm not saying it happens to anyone but me. But it does happen where you're just like, I don't know where these pieces are. And on a rare occasion, it means that they just aren't there. So someone mentioned there. Yes. So Domo, the main guy in the show, I'll put that here while I am furious at myself for not being able to find this piece at the beginning of a build. I'll put that right there so you can see. Yeah, it's got a guy. If I remember correctly, Shining Gundam had I'm going to build a capsule that he could like drive around in, like a vehicle, and then it flew into the back of the Gundam. If I remember correctly, that is what happens in G Gundam, which is fun. One more time, looking for these pieces that I cannot seem to find. Yeah, I'm a bit at a loss as to where this piece is. I'm looking at pieces that are similar to this tiny little piece, and unfortunately, I cannot find G44. So, what happens when you can't find the piece that you're looking for? Well, you have a couple options. You can skip to another part of the project that theoretically will work with other pieces, and then as through process elimination, you start to find the pieces that you needed. Or you have the other option of you just start looking at every single piece and trying to match it and go, is this the right one? Is this the right one? I'm briefly doing that right now because I think that might actually be a beneficial thing. It might just be that G continues on another page, and I didn't think to look for it. There's a lot about this that could have gone smoother, I'm going to admit right now. I'm not down on myself. I'm not down on the project. I'm not down on the concept. I am a little frustrated with myself for being ill-prepared for the possibility that I might not be able to find a piece that I was looking for on the very first step. That's a new thing for me, to not be able to find the thing I need immediately. All right. Okay, one last look over here. Various hands and pieces, gold pieces. No, that's not it. Okay. So what? You know what? We're going to figure it out later. I think that's what we're going to do. Part of the process is just saying, okay, well, I can't find it. I don't know why I can't find it, but it is not a thing that is findable right now. So let's see. Yeah, because it goes through there, and there's a loop and a peg, and the screw I would have to put in, and that's just not happening. So that is frustrating. Yeah, it's a little piece that is just missing from me being able to find it. This is a piece of an arm. It's literally like the first piece of a larger piece of an arm. So it is a weird thing that I can't find it. And when I build the rest of the arm, it would match in with that and be cool. Unfortunately, that is not the case. So what are we going to do? Well, we are going to build other parts of the arm. And we're going to say, okay, we can't build that part of the arm. We can build other things. Because I'd like to do something right now. So this was all part of the arm builds. We'll come back to that. We are going to jump and start building the leg. We are going to jump down to the legs of this Gundam, and we're going to do some of that. And then hopefully I will be able to find what I'm looking for of the G parts and work on the arm. So I'm going to put this back in here. Those little pieces that I took out are from G, so I'm putting them in a bag with G so that I can find them later. I probably still won't find them later, but I can certainly try. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to do the legs. That was frustrating. Well, I'm going to show you right here. We'll go over here. Some filler in this book is some backstory stuff. We'll kind of get in there so you can see some cool things. I want to point out that there's a horse there. I don't know if you can see. So one of the elements of G Gundam is that since it's a fighting show, you wear this like suit that allows you to your punches and kicks to be like one-to-one with the Gundam, because you're like standing inside of it. So there's one guy that rides a horse, and that horse is also wearing a suit. So the horse is controlling the Unicorn Gundam, and it's a real horse. And that's That's great. It just honestly is great. I have nothing else I can say about that. It's just really cool and stupid in a way that I really like. All right. So let's do this thing. All right. F. We're going to find F right now. We're going to start working on the legs. It's going to be real cool and move pretty quickly, and we'll build some legs and feel real good about building some legs. Great. So here's F. Excellente. F. All right. So got to get F. So here we go. Arm got caught there. Pardon me. Apologize for that. All right. So let's take F9 and okay. We'll go over in here. Clip that and clip that. Ooh, great. F9. It's a very small piece. Okay, that goes like that. Like as I said, I like to put it kind of where it is so that spatially I can understand. And as these smaller pieces become bigger pieces and bigger components and they start going together, then it starts making more sense. And it's one of those things where like eventually you can just do it, like you can do some components of the build without having to look at it too closely. You just understand what they're trying to tell you. That happens eventually. And then F7 is this. And I'm going to be doing this build, this particular piece of the build twice in a row, which will be good because once I figure it out the first time, doing it the second time will be much faster. This also was a lot easier. I'm going to say right now, this whole building idea was a lot easier when I was a little kid, even a teen. It was a lot easier. I'm just going to sand that down a little bit there, get off some of that gunk. Great. And yeah, this was a lot easier when I was a kid. I'll admit that. I was better at building. I had tinier hands. I got into building with Gundam Wing. I really kind of got totally invested in, let's see, where does this go? In building around that time, and never looked back. All right, so I'm not actually quite sure where this piece goes, where F7 goes. It doesn't seem to want to tell me exactly. I'm looking at it now. I think it's the lower one. Okay, actually, yeah. So I'll figure that out once I start trying to connect it. That's the nice thing about this stuff is like, well, they all slot together somehow, so you'll figure it out. And like I said, once I start doing 11, the second piece of 11, it will make a lot more sense to me. So we'll go over here. F and F were both identical, so I'm just going to remove the exact same pieces that I removed there, and those will come together pretty quickly. Do that. So that's that piece. Find F9, which is over here. Tricky there. All right, great. And then go over to F12. When I first started doing this, I didn't have clippers. So you would have to like twist and twist and twist and twist and hope that you weren't getting too much remnants when you started to build. And then one day my dad, who did a lot of model building when he was a kid with like metal and ironworks, was like, you need like tweezers or something. And so we went to the hardware store and got something for me. But because I didn't think about asking him, hey, is there an easier way to do this? Because I was just like, I'm buying model kits. I'm into anime now. I'm in my mid-teens, and I like anime, so let's figure out how to make this an obsession that I will never get over, but just take breaks from. I actually did take a long time break from model kits. I haven't built anything in quite a while. I will say I got into doing model kit design works. When did I start doing this? It's been a while. So I got out of it, and then I will say that I got back into it thanks to one Austin Walker a couple years ago as a bit. in Giant Bomb coverage. He did a like one episode of like a Gunpla show, like a build club, and it reignited my interest in doing that, and it coincided with my renewed interest in anime because I had taken quite the break from anime, like you do with anything. Uh, Honestly, I'm going to be real with you guys. Hearing that Naruto was ending got me to start like catching up on like a couple years of Naruto because I was like, I think I want to like watch it with people and like be part of the consciousness and collective as this like long series comes to a conclusion. And of course, at the time, I didn't know that like the next week the show about his kid was going to go live. That Boruto was going to be like a show immediately. I don't know. I didn't know that. I wasn't doing the proper research, I guess, about how that was going to come out, like immediately. All right. So I'm pushing these pieces together, and immediately feel way better than I have at any point in this build because a thing got made. This thing got assembled. This is just a piece of the leg. It's one of a lot of pieces, but it's done. I'll move it up here. The delay means that I don't necessarily know when where things are and where you can see them. But that's a thing that I put together. That's that's 4 pieces that are now a thing. And I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side because these are identical. This is step 11. And like I said, if I know where that arm piece ended up, I'd feel better because I could finish the arms. But right now I can't finish the arms. So working on the legs. We're gonna get some progress done in this show. But yeah, I decided that I was gonna watch Naruto, so I like upped my Crunchyroll account so that I could keep up. And then I just started watching other stuff because, you know, if I'm paying a monthly fee to like get stuff date and date, I probably should enjoy the other things that are on that. So I started watching a lot of other stuff. Started going through some old Gundam that's on there that I hadn't watched. There's still a lot of Gundam I haven't seen because, you know, it's a very long series and there are main story series and series that just are about the war. W- 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 Well, I'm not sure if chat could hear that. That was a announcement that to disregard announcements. One of those like, hey, if you hear the fire alarm, this isn't a fire alarm. Don't worry about it. That's, you know, it's good to know that, but also like that can be spooky as well because like all of a sudden you're just hearing that voice and you're like, oh no, what's going on? Because I'm on the 9th floor of a building. Am I going to have to take the stairs? Am I going to evacuate? Okay, so I did the other piece. Other piece is done. I now have 2 pieces of 2 legs, so that feels good. And all right, let's see here. Okay, so we'll put those aside. Those are done. Those are 11. All right, step 12. More feet stuff. I'm feeling pretty good about the feet stuff. So I haven't done a high grade kit in a very long time, and I'm sure that every kit has its own like quirk and tweak. Like this one has like cool neon hand because it's from the series that is shining Gundam, and instead of like an explosion, one of his hands heats up and he like throws his hand, and, like does a lot of damage. Said hand a lot there. And every once in a while there's a quirk or a unique element to a build, but for the most part, I'll say that these are very similar builds once you get used to them. I just have to kind of like muscle memory, remember how high grades work, and then it won't be too bad. So it's like I kind of remember how legs go together. let's see here. So we're doing seat 1 and seat 2 on here. And do that. 1, 1, 2, 1. It goes like that. Doing my usual method. And 2 is over here. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can hear like car horns and stuff like that. I tried to minimize the sound, especially since I would be using these clippers or nippers, as some people refer to them, a lot. I tried to make sure that it was mostly just my lav mic that you'd be hearing. So hopefully sound is okay. And no one's really said anything to the contrary in chat. I do have another mic near me that's muted right now. It's just a Shure 58 because I might have a guest today. I'm not teasing it. I literally don't know if it's going to happen, but I invited a coworker here at the UCB Theater, Jon Bershad, who is actually working right now. I was like, I don't know if you have time between 1 and 2, come to the room and be a guest on my show. So the invitation is open. I don't know if he'll be joining me or not, but he is welcome to. So we're kind of like seeing if that happens. If not, then we'll carry on as the saying goes. But if he does join, that will be fun because Jon is a very nice guy, and I'd love to know what kind of stuff he's built. But as I said, in the future, I will have a guest. This was more of a proof of concept show. This was like can I actually do this? Do I have the equipment to do it? Do I have the technical know-how to put this together? And then is anyone going to watch? And then I'll be looking at, how many people were in the stream. That's good to know. But then also I'll be looking at, this will go on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. That's my YouTube, and subscribe if you haven't already. And this video will go up there, and we'll see if people want to look at it. 1 p.m. Eastern on a Thursday isn't necessarily a great time for everyone. I understand that. Looking for I6. That's that's A. This is C. This is. It's also the thing of like I should remember, even though these instructions are black and white, if I had like a familiarity with, like a better familiarity with this Gundam, then I could be like, oh, well, I know this piece of the foot is this color, so let me go over here and I can just grab this. So let's see, I. I'm looking for I, everybody. B, that's B. All right. These are E. Okay, so it's not that. This is D and I. Great, here's I. Crinkle, crinkle. Loud sound of something flying out. That was one of the legs I just hit that just flew into the sky. So now I can find that. Okay, so this is just rubber. These are rubber pieces. Whoops. I'm losing things, folks. Hold on. Everything's okay. Let me know if sound is still good. Sound okay still? All right. Okay. So I'm going to go look for this leg piece that flew away right now. And so we will be right back. And we are right back. It wasn't that far away. I found it very quickly. Jump back in here into chat. Okay. Hi, chat. Sorry about that. Flew off away for a second there. But yeah, okay. Everything's looking good. And we're back in it. Great. So, as I said, these are rubber pieces. The hands, the non-glowing hands, the feet are rubber, which is cool. And I don't remember the last time or if I've ever had pieces of rubber involved in a build. And it's kind of fun because this is like the bottom of the feet, and so like I'm pretty excited about traction, and if that has any effect on it or not, I have no idea. If this is going to be like good or bad when I start putting this together. But it does seem to be coming together pretty fast, and I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah. So anyway, as I said, I took a break from this, and Austin Walker doing a bit on Giant Bomb got me back into it. The idea, I like ordered a model kit like right after he did that bit because it like reminded me about how much I enjoyed doing model kits and how I missed it. So I kind of got back into it. I got like the tools I'm using now. I got a few kits. I built a few things, and then I kind of didn't do anything for a little bit. I've had this Gundam sitting around for a while. My Shining Gundam, sitting in a closet for a bit, waiting for the right time. And this silly idea that I had of doing a build with Baer necessitated me getting it done. So let's see. I'm looking for F4. F4 right there. Great little piece. Little pieces. Yeah, I tried to watch a couple episodes of G Gundam to get me in the mood for this, and I could not because it's rough. I don't think I can go back to it. I might. It's still in my queue on Crunchyroll, so I might go back to it and just watch like random episodes. There's like there's like 40 something episodes, and one didn't air on Cartoon Network, and later I went and watched like the dub, like a bad dub or bad subtitle of it. So I went back and watched that. It's kind of like it's a one-off. It's what you think it is, right? I don't have to describe what why they wouldn't show an episode because it doesn't have anything to do with the plot and it involves swimsuits. It's just a fan service episode. But at the time, at like the late '90s or whatever, it was like, well, I need to watch this episode. They won't let me watch. And it's worthless. It wasn't worth me buying a bad DVD of all the episodes just for the one episode that they didn't have. But that's kind of what you did in the 90s if you wanted to watch something. Or like now, where it might be easier to, say, torrent a whole show rather than torrent just the one episode that you want to watch. Instead of just getting the thing, you just get the whole season. It's even though that's a lot more bandwidth to download, it might just be easier. So you're just like doing that, which I understand. I'm not here telling you to torrent or not torrent. I understand people and all that. I am a Crunchyroll Premium subscriber, and I am happy with the service. I wish that all of the anime that I like was on the same service. I wish that I didn't have to get Anime Strike every now and again just to catch up. That's what I've been doing. Because there are a couple series last season that came out on Anime Strike that I was really interested in, but I couldn't watch because they were not on the service that I had. So I had to watch them separately, and that was frustrating. I have to be careful. This is a tough little build piece here. Oh, nope, didn't get it. So I'm going to try to use my clippers to pull this piece out. Oh, great. And I'm going to try to get some of the excess off. I'm going to use some sandpaper to do that. Chat, what are you watching on anime? Tell me. Let me know in the chat. I'll be looking at it sporadically. Is there anything this season that you are watching on Crunchyroll or Funimation or Anime Strike? What's good? What should I be watching? Okay, sorry about this quiet. This is just a little hard to do. All right, I think I did this right. I'll find out later if I did this wrong. Uh, this is the fun part of building when you don't know how to do it. Is the little bit of trial and error you get to do, and then you hope you do it right. Yes, Fantasy Rectangles. My Hero Academia is worth your watch. The second season is very good. There's like comfort anime, and My Hero Academia is definitely comfort anime for me right now. Like even when things go bad or wrong, they still go in a way that you feel good and positive about. And I like any anime where there are characters in the anime that are happy when their friends do well, which seems like a silly thing to say, but like it's just so nice when like anime about people supporting each other. There's just like a bunch of those characters that are just like psyched when their friends do well, even though they're in competition with them a lot. They still can like have the time to be psyched about stuff, and I think that's cool. All right, so I got these pieces done. I'm getting some stuff there, and new game, huh? Yeah, I haven't watched New Game or Gamers. I think, yeah, I probably should check out those things. I am watching the beautifully animated Restaurant in Another World. It is like this really fun concept that I'm totally digging. That so the basic premise is that there is this restaurant. And once a week on Saturday, the day of Saturn, doors open in other dimensions. So on Earth in Japan, the restaurant is closed so that other people from other worlds can come to this restaurant. And it's like kind of Food Wars in that it loves food and wants you to love the food that it loves. So it's very high on the food that it makes, which are a lot of them are like seem to be very well done. And some of these people from other worlds like don't have the spices we have, and so like they're impressed with things that aren't maybe super impressive, but all seems to be really well prepared. And it's like it seems to be mostly vignettes of it. The first 2 episodes are like 2 characters in each episode. So we get to learn about it. There's like a girl who ends up working there. There's like the Dragon Queen takes on a human form and shows up. This is like a Dragon Queen. I don't know. She seems pretty cool. Kind of into that. I'd like to know more about the Dragon Queen, which is a fun sentence. So yeah, so I'm digging that. And then I'm only 1 episode into Knights and Magic, which is just like a cool, a nerdy programmer in Japan dies and then wakes up and he's in the tiny body of a young person, a young boy in a world of magic, and he's like, oh, and there are also mecha, and he's a big mecha otaku, so he's just like, robots and things and magic, and then he realizes that magic is just like code, it's all code, so he's like, oh, I could do that. So I guess that's kind of what the series is going to be. It's like he's a little guy, and he's kind of like figuring out how to be a cool guy. There's a couple episodes in there. I should say cool guy. He's trying to be like a pilot, like a mech pilot in a world of magic. And there's another series that just came out. I think there's only 2 episodes in, and it is pure fantasy comfort food for me, a straight white guy. And I understand why other people would probably watch a series and go, no thanks, I am not into this show. And I understand that. And that is In Another World with My Cell Phone. And so the premise is also similar. In this series, God threw lightning down in a place where he thought there would be no people. Drop something, picking that up. And instead, he accidentally, via God lightning, murdered a kid, a 15-year-old boy. And he was like, sorry, boy, I didn't mean to murder you. Um, and I can't reincarnate you on Earth. So what I'll do is I'll put you in this world of magic, and you'll have all your memories. I'll give you a cell phone, um, and I'll also give you the ability to control magic better than anyone else in this world. And you'll remember that you know that you were like from another reality and all that. So it's like immediately a kid. He's 15, and he's like, you know, he's the perfect main character, which happens to be a trope in anime, seemingly a lot lately. Is this like perfect kid main character? Um, in like the second episode, he doesn't use the cell phone at all. He takes a photo. He did like a photo of the sleeping friend of his, like, and that's it. So in the first episode, he immediately meets two twins, and they explain how fighting works, and he's good at fighting. And they explain how magic works, and he's good at magic. And in the second episode, he like saves a duke, and like saves the duke's daughter, and he doesn't save the duke. He saves the duke's daughter, and then he saves like the duke's like blind wife, and everyone finds out that he has the ability to use any personal magic they call null magic, which only the creator should be able to use. He can use it if he learns about it. So he's basically the best and amazing, and it's like, all right, okay, all right, anime, you just made out your perfect boy harem because he already has two girls and in the with him, and then it's pretty much said in the description that there will be other ladies in the show. So it's like, okay, all right, anime, but everything worked out and everyone was happy, and an old man had an arrow in his chest and he was fine. Uh, there was a moment that I thought was kind of shitty where like the girl who's very good at healing didn't get a chance to heal. The main character boy, did it instead, and it was like, okay. Oh, also the second one, there's a samurai girl, and she has a lot of respect for the main guy because he's nice. And a lot of that episode was talking about how nice he is, and it was like, okay, uh, this anime needs like a huge amount of figuring out, like, is that what this show's going to be? Just a bunch of like cool boy moments. So I'm moving some stuff around a little bit because I'm going to be joined in a moment by my guest. He's going to pop over here and we'll chat a little bit while I work on some legs. So for just a moment, I'm going to take a break and we will be right back. Hello. So we're back, and I'm going to do a little readjusting here of the webcam shot so that it also includes my guest.
Hello.
John, I'm going to put this kind of probably right up on you.
Oh, you don't think people want to listen to my Adam's apple?
No. And then let's ask chat. John, if you can say a few words, and we'll see if chat can hear you.
Sure. A few words. That's the worst thing for me to say.
Yeah.
Did everyone hear that terrible, terrible joke? Rated on a 1 to awful.
This is the fun part of live streaming where we have a delay, and I'm anxiously waiting for chat to update.
Oh, I'm a bit quiet. No audio on me.
Um, you can hear. Can you chat a little
What if I
louder?
lean in really close? Oh, it's just your mic picking me up.
No,
I can
that's
talk
not good.
to your cheek instead of my Adam's apple.
Okay, well we're gonna do option 2, everybody. Um,
Hello.
so yeah, so you can. Why don't you talk a little bit, see if they can hear you?
You guys don't need to hear me. I'm just a pretty face.
Buddy.
Oh, there we go, says Fancy Rectangles. I think we might be okay. Nope, it's faint again. No, I think I was just being picked up on your mic.
Okay, so then we'll do option 2.
This mic just for show.
Should have worked. I don't know why it didn't. But the chat can still hear me, even though they can't see me, because I am wireless.
No, I'll just try to move my lips to match what you're saying.
Yeah. Theoretically, I'm going to unplug that. All right, so chat should still be able to hear me. We'll see how things go. John, I'm going to put that on. Theoretically, you'll also be able to pick up John on that. So we'll see if that works. In the meantime, I'll just point this right here, and I'll point this right here, and say that we have legs. We got whole feet here. Feet, they're coming in. Okay, so that's good. Go back in here. I'm going to turn up volume a little bit, and we'll see if the worst comes to worst, I can just turn on one of the 2 webcams I'm using and just use the audio off those webcams. But we'll give chat a second to see if they can hear either of us here, and we can get rid of that because we don't need that. And we'll see if chat updates to let us know. A producer in headphones, that would be great to have, but we don't have that. We don't have that kind of functionality here. We're just building. Literally no updates from the chat. That's great. Okay. Thanks, chat.
Well, I haven't been talking, so I guess I don't
Yeah.
know if they can hear me yet.
Well, I think they can. What's got here? You can hear Pat. That's it so far. Can't hear you. All right.
You're welcome.
Okay. We'll just.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me, or is it just me and Pat's microphone?
It might just be. Oh no. You're theoretically getting picked up, so we'll see.
Okay.
I did.
I better say something really interesting.
No, John, I wanted to also test out to see if this was like even possible if I could have guests on with the amount of equipment that I had. That was also very important for me to know because, like I said, this is the pilot episode, guys. This is where everything goes wrong, and then it magically works out, and then we get funding, and we do a totally different system than any of this shit that I have. And my webcam will go for no reason. I'll have this other webcam. Yes, this is the pilot. Yes, this is the Domo.
I think, no pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. Domo and Cashew, our pilot. Okay, so we have feet. I'm feeling pretty good about having that feet there. I'm gonna go back to. We're gonna build our main here on OBS. Oh, John, you're in the shot still. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we're using my laptop's webcam as our webcam here, and then on my other webcam as the table camera, because I thought that would be good to have both. Because the couple live streams I've watched of these, I liked that way better. All right, so now we're going back to G, which is the one that I hate because I couldn't find some of the pieces in G. So we're going back to it, and hopefully we'll have all of G that we need.
I know we might have already discussed this earlier in the show. How many of these have you made?
So, master grade style, I've done, I would say, about a dozen in my lifetime. It's been a number of years since I built anything. I built a high grade, which is like a step lower and probably like the entry level for a lot of people. I did one of those not too long ago, maybe like half a year ago. But something of this scale, I have not done in quite some time.
How long do they usually take?
Once you get the rhythm down, it can take like a high grade. You can do in like an hour. Uh, so like, let's say this leg piece here, this foot. This was several small steps then put together. Whereas if I did the lower grade version of it, it would be like 4 pieces put together. Like this piece, these 2 pieces here would be like one big leg piece, and you just do that together. Whereas this is like I think 9 or 12 pieces put together. John, I should ask you: do you do any? Have you done any building yourself? Model kits of any sort?
Not in many, many years. Not since I was a child. I
Hmm.
built a couple planes, and had a number of Lego sets.
Oh, okay.
It's perfectly suitable guest for your pilot episode.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of experience building kits. I built a few pieces of IKEA furniture recently.
Okay. Hey,
Um,
that's a whole project in itself.
it's kind of like a giant building a IKEA furniture.
Yes, we're building a giant model that just happens to be that. Yeah. Yeah, I mean these kind of kits like I mean I used to watch TV and just kind of build in the background or watch stuff on YouTube and like I don't know there's something soothing about it and there's just also something like really fun about like looking on your shelf and instead of just buying like an action figure, which is I have no problem with action figures. I got tons of those. But the idea that you're like, oh no, this works because I made it, because I put all the pieces together, is really fun. Uh, Especially when you're like I don't know what this piece does until I put it with a bunch of other things, and I go, oh, it's these little pieces are representing like the pistons firing so that the legs will move up and down. And you're like, oh, that's silly and weird. Why are these 2 pieces like this, and why did I have to do this very fine, tiny piece? Um, yeah, because right now it's like, but once you start getting things together, like this foot, both these feet feel very good to me. Then I'm like, I put this together. Like it feels great to know that you like did something. And then I'm like, okay, now what else can I do? What else? What's the next step? What else do I have to build?
How much does a package like this typically run?
So let's see. I believe I got this for $20 something. Now this is a oh, I'm being told that we cannot hear you, John. Oh no, well, still an issue. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna go and switch our audio to webcam and see if that. Um, hmm, no, that doesn't work. Okay. I'm just gonna turn it up some, and we'll see if that works, and then I can. Well, I don't want you to yell. I have one other thing I can do. Ah, this'll work. I could turn up the volume on the receiver for your microphone.
Oh, one of those tricks.
Yes, so, and I also turned everything up, which is probably too much. So
Just
we'll take it
blew
down
out
some.
everyone's eardrums. They were
So
trying to
we'll see.
watch a nice, peaceful Gundam getting built
Mhm.
video, and all of a sudden there was screaming. Aha!
Yeah, the microphone receiver for my wireless mics, I've only used one. I've never used both at the same time. So, of course, I wouldn't have the volume turned up on my second mic that I also
Yeah.
wasn't planning on using today.
Now you also built the receiver, right? That
I
came
mean,
in a
yeah, I mean, I
different
put that
package.
that was a different pilot for a different show about that. what was I saying? I don't know. I was saying
We were
that.
talking about how much this package costs.
Yeah, I think this was $20-something I bought on Amazon. This is like an older series. Master grades are going to run you up a little bit more than others. High grades, like if it's an old series, could be incredibly inexpensive. But a newer series is gonna cost you.
How frequently do they update the series?
Well, so these are all based on properties. Gundam is a long-running series, so G Gundam, which this is from, had 40-something episodes. But if people are like, it's 2017 and we demand a new version of the Shining Gundam, they might put a new one out, and then this one could go drop in price because the new one's awesome, or with anything, people could be like, you know what, I don't like the new version of that. The classic one is the one you have to get. And then suddenly, this is $100 because people are like, oh, I want that one.
What are some of the complaints people have made about...
We
are testing the fire alarm.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier in the stream, how that don't worry about it alarm came on, and I worried about it.
We got the audio working just in time for the fire alarm test.
Yeah. So sometimes people don't like, they don't like the coloring of some of the builds. They don't like the tests of some of them. Sometimes the pieces are a little misaligned in a lot of kits. And there's always room for error, but sometimes there's too much error.
Do you ever do your own painting and detailing on these when they're done?
So I don't do a lot of painting. I kind of talked about that on the stream earlier, because I don't have a good finite control.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's screws. I hate this. Master grade has real screws in it, and that's stupid. All right.
Does it come with the screws?
It comes with the screws, but I'm just like, I don't want to do that. All right, so this was the G. We're going to put that in there. So I remember. So it's 2 p.m. I'm going to wrap up the stream because I don't have the room past 2 p.m. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the...
That's how full TV shows handle it.
Yes, they're like, oh, we can't be in the studio anymore. We got to wrap up this TV show.
Yeah, Jimmy Fallon's landlord runs in and is like, guys.
I also didn't account for having a guest and where I would put them, and I was like, oh yeah, this wall is great for me doing this. Whatever, I don't care. You're watching. I want to thank my guest, Jon Bershad.
Thank you.
John, how can people find you on the internet?
They could find me on Twitter. Is just my name, @Jon Bershad. Or they could listen to my podcast, The Emoji Movie, the podcast. It has nothing to do with the Emoji Movie.
If I remember correctly, it is a podcast examining the idea of how movies like the Emoji Movie get made, where you throw out two ideas and you have to come up with a pitch.
Yes,
is that correct?
I have 2 comedian guests. You're going to have to come on sometime.
Yes, please.
And I have this randomized app that creates, that gives me a random word of something that should not be the basis of a movie, has no narrative value. And the 2 comedians attempt to write as if they were pitching to the owners of that property how to make a movie off of it.
Okay.
We've done the iTunes Music Store movie. The Whole 30 movie about the diet, the Casper mattress movie.
Ooh, all right.
Oh yeah,
it's a great podcast subject.
It is very silly and very dumb.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us,
Thank you.
John. Thank you all for watching. As I said, this will be on my YouTube, youtube.com/PatBaer. I'm on twitch.tv/PatBaer. I'll do another one of these because I had fun doing it. I'm going to play with the format a little bit, play with the setup. I want to show you right now what we did today, which is we have feet for our Gundam. In our next episode, I'm going to find the missing parts. I'm going to figure out where those arm parts are. I'll probably do a little bit of building in between. I'm going to work on some stuff that involves screws, so it'll be a little bit more assembled the next time we meet. Or we might do something totally different because, I don't know, this is Build with Baer Workshop, and thank you very much for joining, and goodbye.